A couple of days have passed after setting sail to the open ocean. Loot and booty has been plenty. Alas, company has met my ship in turn, though it has turned the adventure more adventurous. My shipmate and I, with our mighty sloop, started this voyage with fun in mind, yet now I sit here alone in my cabin. And after careful consideration of my decision to leave this port alone, this is constantly on my mind. Holy shit, is this game $60? When Rare's new game was announced in 2015 during Microsoft E3 presentation, I was really excited. However, it didn't take long for me to almost forget about this project, being only reminded of it every now and then when I saw a thumbnail on YouTube or something like that, though I did not click on those videos, as the pirate theme back then was a bit boring in my personal opinion. However, about 2 weeks before launch, hype rose from within. I started looking at videos, interviews, the trailers, because I was so excited and I was so prepared to jump straight into it. The reason for why I'm saying this is because I want you to understand that I went into this game with a fresh mind. I didn't burn out my excitement, by following the development, which has happened in the past, and I feel it's important for me to say this. Because as you may have gotten from this introduction of this video, this game has some big problems. But before we head into that, let's talk about the story. There's no story. Yeah, there's no narrative or even an introduction to this game. The second you boot up Sea of Thieves, you are on your own. Now, I really like that there is no hand-holding whatsoever, but the no story part of this is a negative, as the single-player experience is really lacking, but I'll return to that a bit later. So, as there is no story to talk about, let's go through the gameplay. As a pirate, you have two means of transportation around the world, good old boots on the ground and the main selling point for this game, the sailing. Gotta make it as clear as possible, the sailing in this game is genuinely fantastic. Instead of just steering a vessel from a bird perspective, you actually have to control everything from the sail length to catch a lot of wind and of course the angle. There are some strats like lowering the anchor, rotate the wheel to make a hard turn. With some friends playing along, just sailing a ship is an adventure in itself. There are two kinds of vessels, a small sloop for 1 or 2 players, being a bit more on the fragile side but speedy against the wind and a bit more maneuverable than the bigger galleon, where you will need 3 or 4 players. I'm a bit annoyed that there are only 2 types, definitely when you go into the customization, as you can only get new sails, different hull and a figurehead, meaning no personalized captain cabins, no embellished cannons, and no different flag types. Yeah, a pirate game where you only get a white flag, what the hell? Sailing is a ton of fun, but a lack of content here there are, and not only when it comes to the ships. The gameplay can be split into 4 parts. The 3 first one are like guilds or factions that you can do quests, like the Order of Souls, which are primarily focused on PvE combat, where you have to kill a specific skeleton to get a skull and then return it to the guild. The second is the Merchant Alliance, where you get a list of, stuff that you have to collect, whether it be chickens, any other sort of animal, cannonballs, bananas, and you have to take it to a specific outpost before a period of time to deliver it in, again for money. And finally, it's the Gold Hoarders, where they will give you a map that you follow to find a chest to again return to the faction. All of these are extremely samey, and aside from these, there's the PvP. This is a problem. Main issue here is that every voyage that you get from one of these guilds are the same. There is no real difference here. Get a treasure map or a riddle map from the Gold Hoarder, get a bounty map from the Order, get a list from the Merchant. These are not quests, just maps for you to follow and complete. Rinse and repeat. And the biggest problem is that there is no real progression. When you level up your affiliation with one of these groups, you only get quests that gives more money. And with this cash, you can get cosmetics. I like getting new stuff to wear, but the thing is, every chest you find, no matter if it's cursed, embellished with gold, or just completely normal, you can't find anything else than gold, which creates a new problem, the exploration side of things. You can find treasure chests in sunken ships, you can find them in hidden caves on mountains, or just randomly on the islands, but there's only one thing that they give: money. You won't find a new sword, or a coat, or any sort of clothing item, or a cursed object, or anything of that kind, making exploration completely unnecessary. You already know what you will find: a chest, to just return to the Gold Hoarder. to get some money and a higher level with this guild, so you can just do the same thing again. Now let's look at the combat. There is only one type of enemy. Let's make this clear. When it comes to the PvE, you have 3 things that you can kill. 1. Sharks. Now you don't really want to meet them in combat. Again, you only meet them, you know, underwater, if you go to a sunken shipwreck or etc. and you just want to swim away from them. They are more annoyances than enemies. 2nd, the Kraken. When I first heard that this monster, one of my favorite Nordic mythological beings would be in this game, I was so hyped. And I haven't met it yet. After over 20 hours of gameplay, I still haven't met it. And from what I've heard, not that much of an event, really. And 3rd, and the one enemy type that you will constantly fight, skeletons. The only type of enemies you'll fight in this game is skeletons. Skeletons! Okay, there are different versions of the skeleton enemy. There's the regular type, the tough golden version, which is weak to water, the shadow skelly, who are invulnerable during the night, green plant-like bone men, who heals in water, and the boss version. That's all! The only real PvE enemy in this game, and it's skeletons. The most typical of enemies that you can meet in RPGs and adventure games are the only opponents in Sea of Thieves, aside from other players. This includes in the raid or dungeon type of area, the skeleton forts, where you have to take on several waves of skeletons before getting the best types of chests and skulls as a reward, which you have to give to the guild people for money, and no special reward whatsoever. My god, this game feels so incomplete. So aside from doing the quest, you have skeleton forts, which awards you with chests, skulls and other trinkets to give to guild peeps, sunken ships with chests, skulls and other trinkets to give to the guild peeps, message in the bottles, which will lead you to a chest to give to the guild peeps, exploration, where you may find a chest to give to the guild peeps. I started playing this game alone when I first got it, and after playing over 10 hours by myself, I can't do that anymore. I need another player to make it entertaining. Sure, the PvP will always make some difference in some sort of way, but every other gameplay aspect that is focused on anything else, it is all the same. There is no variety, there is no progression, there is nothing that makes this world different, and that also goes to the world itself. Every outpost, you know, where you get your quests, deliver them, etc., they're all the same. There's no differences. There's the same amount of NPCs, the same amount of houses, the same houses, like there's no difference at all. So there is no reason to go to any specific place. To summarize, 2 ships in the entire game. There are only 3 different types of gameplay styles: combat, which leads to a skull that you can sell; treasure hunting, where no chest hold anything interesting aside from only money; the merchant stuff, collecting animals and sell them. And yes, in this entire game, the only animals that you can interact with in any sort of way are pigs, snakes, and chickens. At this point in time, Sea of Thieves feels more like a beta, as if they're holding back content to only give it to, you know, on release day. But it's already out. It's just insane, and they showed us so much that's not in the game. Like in the announced trailer, you could open up chests, the exploration seemed like it would actually mean something. The skeletons, even though they only showed the skeletons, actually had some more characteristics to them than, you know, one wearing a bandana. I know I've been extremely harsh on this game, but that's because I love it to some extent. I mean, I'm not being harsh just because of the lack of content. I'm being harsh because I like it. I like this game and I want to love it. I want to sing the praises. But I can't do that if there's nothing here. It's not a finished game. So I've been really, you know, negative throughout most of this review. So just to go a bit on the positive, I really like the gameplay. I really do. And the presentation is fantastic. Art style I truly enjoy. And while that will always be of my preference, nobody has anything negative to say about how the water looks. Just look at it. And when you sail in the middle of a storm with your lanterns on, it truly brings out the atmosphere that the 2 first Pirates of the Caribbean movies brought forth. The soundtrack is okay in my opinion, reminding me a bit about the previous mentioned movies, but you will mostly hear the ambience of the world, which is good. While not a fan of the fact that you can't customize your character aside from the cosmetics you can buy, and that the list of characters is random, I do enjoy how they look. Plus there are tons of little stuff that just makes this world feel, you know, a bit more thought out. When playing an instrument, when somebody joins, the music will sync together. The compass will go crazy in the middle of a storm, so you can actually use the northern star to follow the right path to your destination. If you have your ship lanterns on, it is so easy to see from a distance. The islands, while no reason to explore, are so interesting to look at, with hidden caves, paintings of beasts, maybe a skeleton of a previous explorer who died by a trap, etc. Again, I just wish there was a reason to explore. Some people apparently have found an underwater ruin, but there is nothing there. And that is just what you can say about this game overall. There is nothing here. In some way, I'm really happy that I didn't follow the development of this game, because I can just imagine how disappointed I would be. Way more than I am now. I mean, I'm disappointed right now. I really like this game. I really enjoy playing Sea of Thieves, but with the lack of progression, with the only reward being cosmetics that you can't even see because, you know, it's a first-person game. Only one enemy type, only different skin, you know, gold and stuff like that, and no reason for exploration. Every quest is indistinguishable from one another. They're just the same. Makes me just think that this game is a skeleton. If you had put some meat on it, it might actually be a good thing, but right now it's all bare bones. So because of this, Sea of Thieves gets a common chest out of a rare one. I kind of view this as a simulator game, but where I never got tired of Euro Truck Simulator, Sea of Thieves, I need another friend to play with me. It's so frustrating. And seeing so many people say, you know, oh, I paid $60 for this game. Yeah, guess what? Converting Norwegian sovereign to English or American dollars, I paid roughly 85. Welcome back, Rare. Now see yourself out. But for everyone else, I'm KingJGrim, or the guy who grew up with Captain Sabretooth, whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time.